From awkward questions to straight-up disrespect, some interviewers ruin the interview before it even begins. Like when this reporter kicked things off by calling out Snoop Dogg for being late.
You're 5 hours late here. And
man, shut the up. Come on, man.
No, we just saw you on Twitter from the border.
I'm 5 hours late. I'm here. Be happy I'm here and ask some real questions.
This next reporter went out of his way to provoke Mike Tyson, digging into his past just to get a reaction.
Baltimore, you said things like before fights about your opponents. I want to punch him on the tip of the nose to drive the bone up through his brain.
You know what, can I tell you something? What do you want to get from this interview?
I want to see how much you've changed, Mike. You're a different person now, aren't you?
You're irritating me now. I guess I did change because I'm not assailing you, but you're irritating me right now because I feel that you're evoking stuff from the past. That stuff is 15, 20 years ago.
That's when the reporter crossed the line, bringing up the tragic recent loss of Tyson's 4-year-old daughter, with the boxer clearly on the verge of losing it.
You mentioned family there. I mean, the awful incident with your daughter.
I'd rather you not talk about that.
You don't want to talk about it?
Yes, don't talk about that, Doorman, all right? Yes, talk about me.
This next reporter would also cross the line when he asked an underage Britney Spears a downright creepy question about her body.
There's one subject we didn't discuss. Mm-hmm. What was that? Everyone's talking about it.
What?
Well, your breasts.
My breasts.
You seem to get furious when a talk show host comes up with this subject.
I'm 17.
In general, what do you think about breast implants, just in general?
Well, I think if that's what you want to do and that would make you happy, then I see nothing wrong with it. But I haven't done that.
Britney faced so many invasive questions from a shockingly young age, like this next unprofessional reporter who would take things way too far by asking Spears if she was still a virgin.
I'm just wondering how you feel about all the constant speculation about your virginity and whether you are a virgin or not.
I really wish I would have never said anything to begin with, because I'm kind of stuck in this little place where people are always asking me. But, you know, that's just something that's part of growing up, and that's just something that we all have to deal with, so.
Have there been any changes on that front?
That's a personal question.
Britney wasn't the only one put on the spot, as the king of pop, Michael Jackson, faced the same unprofessional question.
I'm going to ask you this, and it's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you a virgin?
How could you ask me that question?
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman.
You're a gentleman.
I'm a gentleman.
So
I'm a gentleman.
So, okay, I would interpret that to mean that means that you believe that a lady is a lady, and therefore...
That's something that's private. I mean, you know, shouldn't be spoken about openly. You can call me old-fashioned if you want, but, you know, to me that's very personal.
So you're not going to answer it?
I'm embarrassed.
But that wasn't the only time Oprah crossed the line. In 2004, she blindsided 17-year-old Mary-Kate Olsen with a question about her rumored eating disorder, forcing Ashley to jump in and defend her sister.
I know there's a new rumor that's recently surfaced, has really upset you, right? You know, the one about eating.
Yeah, you know, people are going to write what they want to write. We try not to read the good or the bad because it just kind of comes with the territory. You know, either you're too fat, you're too skinny, and...
That's when Oprah cut in with a question so invasive, it left Ashley visibly shocked.
What size are you, by the way?
Size?
Yeah, I always like to know.
I'm really short.
You're not sure?
Girls, and you know.
That's so interesting.
Janet Jackson was similarly ambushed by David Letterman, who kept tormenting her with questions about her Super Bowl wardrobe malfunction, despite her clear attempts to move on from the scandal.
To the time the episode took place during the halftime show.
I don't want to relive any of that.
All right.
I mean,
you don't mind if I ask you some questions about it, though?
Dave, you're going to make me relive this. I want to put all that behind me.
Well,
I truly do.
Well, not me.
It's hard to watch as a visibly uncomfortable Janet Jackson squirms in her seat while Letterman keeps grilling her on what had to be the most humiliating moment of her life.
So it truly was a wardrobe malfunction? It was just a mistake? Is that what happened?
It was truly an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen.
Wasn't supposed to. What was supposed to happen?
Oh, God. Can we talk about something else, please?
And speaking of wardrobe malfunctions, this next interview took an uncomfortable turn when Matt Lauer kicked things off by bringing up Anne Hathaway's own mishap. Something that's aged even worse in light of the misconduct allegations that later came out against him.
Nice to see you.
Morning, Matt.
Seen a lot of you lately.
Sorry about that.
Let's just get it out of the way. You had a little wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson learned from something like that, other than that you keep smiling, which you always do?
Well, it was obviously an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
I think it kind of made me sad on two accounts. One was that I was very sad that we live in an age when someone takes a picture of another person in a vulnerable moment and rather than delete it and do the decent thing, sells it. And I'm sorry that we live in a culture that commodifies sexuality of unwilling participants, which brings us back to Les Mis. Yeah, so let's get back to Les Mis.
Meanwhile, Irish actor Cillian Murphy wasn't going to let it slide when a reporter kept getting his nationality wrong. A sensitive mistake considering Ireland's history with Britain.
Both are British.
No, I'm Irish.
Oh, yeah, no, British.
No.
Oh, sorry.
That's a big difference.
The area of North Europe.
No, from Ireland.
And while Murphy had to set the record straight, this next interviewer took the unprofessionalism to another level, kicking off their chat with John Cusack by mistaking him for Kevin Spacey.
It's funny, I actually was just text messaging with a friend because I'm missing class right now.
You are?
And my film class. And it's so funny because they're watching American Beauty today and analyzing it.
American Beauty? What's funny about that?
You were in that.
No, it wasn't.
American Beauty?
No.
What's the one with the rose petals?
I'm not in that.
That's not you?
No.
Really?
No.
Really?
Swear to God.
Am I just very confused?
I think you are.
I think I am.
But when Harrison Ford was faced with a question that could have gone sideways, he flipped the script with a perfectly sharp response.
How easily can you silence the part of your brain that says, I look like an idiot when I'm playing a Red Hulk? You know, the behind-the-scenes footage of this, you probably look like an insane human being.
I don't want to break your bubble, but that's what the money is for.
To silence that part of your brain?
Gone. Gone.
It's like magic.
It's not magic. It's commerce.
And while Ford handled his moment perfectly, David Spade had a different problem, calling out Jimmy Fallon for constantly talking over him.
I squeaked on. You did stand up. When I did, I'll tell the story. When
And speaking of Jimmy Fallon, Ricky Gervais wasn't buying the fake compliment about his looks, and he made sure Fallon knew it.
You look great, by the way. I look great? Yeah. Is that sarcasm? No, it wasn't. You see, this is the thing with you, it's a talk show. Oh, you look great, even though, look at me. Of course I don't look great. Look, I'm worse than last time. Last time we talked about getting old, and now it is worse because I'm getting fat again.
But that was nothing compared to Joan Rivers, who made a backhanded comment about Mariah Carey's weight right to her face.
Now, everyone said you gained weight. You did not. You look wonderful.
I gained weight? You know, what are you going to do? That's life.
Is your
gain weight, huh?
No, you look what they said. Wait,
Joan Rivers says it, then it has to be true.
Yet few interviewers reached Larry King's level of disrespect, cutting off DJ Khaled mid-sentence just to take a shot at his weight.
You should strive for greatness.
How did you gain all the weight?
Just eating a lot.
You still want to lose more?
Oh yeah, I want to lose like 20, 30 pounds more. After that, I'm sex symbol.
On the other hand, Jerry Seinfeld took a much harsher approach when an interviewer criticized him for the lack of racial diversity on his show.
I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males.
Oh, this really pisses me off, but go ahead. Really pisses me off.
Seinfeld tried to brush it off with a joke, but the more he talked, the more his frustration started to show.
Take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys. What's going on here? People think it's the census or something? I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that, but everyone else is kind of with their little calculating, is this the exact right mix? You know, I think that's, to me, it's comedy.
This next reporter tried the same gotcha tactic on a panel of female comedians, but Amy Poehler looked downright disgusted, while Sarah Silverman hit back with a brutally honest response.
Has something changed in the last 5 or 10 years for women in comedy? Because there used to be this myth that, women can't be as funny as men. I don't know if you've ever...
This question is boring.
I'm sorry.
I just feel like women who get really offended by people who say that women aren't funny are just, they're probably not funny. You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
Yeah,
If a 90-year-old Jerry Lewis thinks women are funny, it's fine. It's endearing, if anything. It's like when your grandmother's a racist.
However, it's safe to say that Ben Kingsley was not endeared by this next interviewer's silly, laid-back interview style.
I demolished about 4 croissants.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which is always a good way to start the morning. Well,
Very
any morning.
good. What was in the croissants?
Well, I had an almond croissant, and then I had Danish pastry, and then I just had a chocolate muffin.
Oh, excellent. 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 I thought there might be drugs in the muffins. I think there were, don't you?
Quick.
Definitely.
Before they wear off.
Yes. I would get this while we can, actually. Are you rolling? Excellent. Okay. I'm not going to say anything in this interview. We're just going to enjoy you laughing and talking about croissants, okay? Go.
The interviewer kept trying, but Kingsley wasn't having it, firing back with short, icy responses that made his frustration impossible to miss.
If a film of yours ever comes on screen, do you sit down and watch it?
No, I don't. No. Next question.
Is that just because you don't really like watching your films, or is it?
No, I just have better things to do than sit in front of the television. Sit back, otherwise we can't see you and you're out of focus.
In the end, no matter how hard she tried, this interview was simply a lost cause.
And you don't just go into work just because it's fun on the day off?
No. Would you do that?
Yeah.
Would you go into your office on a day off just for fun and have, yes, and eat more croissants, I suppose?
Yes, if Rebel Wilson was in my team.
Well, he's not though, is he?
And things didn't get any better in this next interview when David Letterman opened his conversation with Madonna by telling her to kiss a random audience member, and it only went downhill from there.
Let's go kiss a guy in the audience. Why don't you go kiss the guy in the
Why are you
audience?
so obsessed with my sex life?
As we all know, I have none of my own.
Listen, all you do is talk about my sex life on your show, so now you don't want to talk about my sex life when I'm on your show.
No, what do you mean? Do you mean because we refer to you periodically, we make jokes?
Periodically?
Yeah.
You can't get through a show without talking about me or thinking about me.
What brings
Incidentally, you are a sick.
This next interview got even more personal, as Jay Leno would blindside Kanye West with a low-blow question about his recently deceased mother in the wake of the rapper's 2009 Taylor Swift controversy.
I was fortunate enough to meet your mom and talk with your mom a number of years ago. What do you think she would have said about this? Would she be disappointed in this? Would she give you a lecture?
But this next journalist learned the hard way that Javier Bardem doesn't tolerate disrespectful questions about his wife.
¿Cómo se siente ser el único hombre del mundo que disfruta trabajando con su mujer?
La pregunta es de una falta de gusto tremenda.
Ay, no.